gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. The reason why it's called Uncommon Sense, because here we talk about everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and the subscriber mode has been enabled for 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe. Now, I see we only have someone in the chat. Good evening, Gigi. Thank you very much for stopping by. And before I continue, let me just state that Gigi has her channels, which she produces a lot of great content, and she also has a membership. So I'm going to ask you to show some love for her and check out her content and consider subscribing to her channel. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined. We appreciate your support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into devices, and a huge shout out to all those who watch from the clouds, especially the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I talk about issues pertaining to Latinos, particularly Latinos residing in the United States. There is a link in the description. I'm going to ask you to also subscribe to that channel as well. And I see here we also have some other people. We also have April Showers. Good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. And Don Armando, thank you very much for stopping by. They both have their YouTube channels, which they both produce a lot of great content. In fact, I understand that April Showers was live earlier tonight with her review of the first night of the Democratic National Convention. So tonight's topic, it's a serious discussion topic, but something that has to be discussed. So as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is you are important. So tonight I'm going to be talking about a very difficult topic that not a lot of people wish to discuss, and it has to do with self-deletion. Why people decide to self-delete, and I'm going to be discussing some of the causes. I'm also going to provide resources for those who either are experiencing those type of thoughts or know someone that is. Now, this is a very serious topic, so I'm going to be discussing this not only tonight on my main channel, I'm also going to be discussing on Thursday night on my other channel, which is Latina Diaspora, as it pertains to Latinos. Now, no, okay, now, for these two streams, of course, you know, being that I'm talking about a very serious discussion, of course, if you wish to share the content, that's perfectly fine, as long as it's just, it's similar information, and not to use it to attack me or any of the other individuals who appear on the chat. Now, before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. So, of course, this week, as I stated before, the Democratic Party is having its convention. A lot of it is basically it's a lot of formality because they already picked who's going to be the candidate. So it's going to be, of course, Kamala Harris as the candidate for president, with Tim Walz as the candidate for vice president. Now, one individual, thank you, Gigi. One individual took issue with who I supported, which is fine. You are entitled to your opinion, okay? But this is the thing. Do I agree with everything that Kamala Harris proposes? No, I don't. Okay? There are many areas where I have disagreements with Kamala Harris, and people know what are those areas where there's disagreement, and I've spoken about it for months, actually for weeks. I'm sorry, ever since she became the presumptive candidate. But one thing I can never support. I can never support someone that will try to do away with the unions. I can never support anyone that would try to strip thousands of federal municipal employees of their rights and protections, having replaced with a bunch of yes men, so that Donald Trump, if elected, can do whatever the fluff he wants. I can never support someone that will actively weaken the systems of check and balances. Now, is it perfect? No. Okay? But it's, it is there for a reason, so that no one branch of the government gets too powerful. Okay? There's no way I'm going to support someone that's going to bring about an agenda like Project 2025, which will eliminate the Department of Education, eliminate the Department of Homeland Security, weaken the system of checks and balances, increase the power of the president to almost do a level as a dictatorship, where the executive branch has unlimited authority. No. There is a saying, absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay. And I get it. People support Donald Trump, and you know what? I respect your opinion. I just disagree, that's all. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. But I will say this, and this has been something I've been saying for a long time. Support whoever you wish to support, but make sure that you do your research, okay, as far as what they want to do, okay? Because I'm not the type of person that's going to say, support Kamala Harris because she's a woman, or support Donald Trump because he's a man. No. If you truly believe that what Donald Trump proposes, and you have read his his platform, by all means, knock your stuff out. It's the same thing with Kamala Harris. If you believe in your heart of hearts that Kamala Harris is your candidate and you've done your research, fine. Okay. But it's just that people are getting too sensitive regarding the people that they wish to support. And that's where there's a problem. Okay. I have friends that support Kamala Harris. I don't question as far as the why. I'm assuming that they've done their research. I have friends who support Donald Trump, and I'm assuming that they've done their research as well. Okay, we're going to disagree, but that's fine. All I'm asking is let's be agreeable when we disagree. Okay. Because unfortunately, what happens is you have certain individuals that get sensitive and emotional. Okay? And I'll be perfectly honest, I don't engage in dialogue with anyone that gets emotional. You can just, you know what, if you're gonna get emotional about something, then you don't have, we cannot discuss it. And I won't discuss it, okay? This is not an echo chamber here. Everyone is entitled to their opinions, and there have been multiple times when people have been on my platform and in my chat disagree with what I think or what I believe, and I'm cool, and I can accept that. Okay, I don't fear that. I don't fear when people disagree with me. Okay. On the contrary, I have more respect if if you disagree with me, and you can state your case logically. Actually, it was someone that made a comment on my Facebook account, talking about that talking about that and all because I choose to publicly support Kamala Harris. Okay, there are people who publicly choose to support Donald Trump, and that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, you support Donald Trump? Okay, fine. I'm gonna assume that you have done your research, and that you find that that you believe in what he espouses, and that's fine. Okay. All I'm asking is the same courtesy. If you cannot do it to me, then we got nothing to discuss, and it's better that we don't discuss things. If you're going to get emotional because of my views, block me. Okay? I'm too old, and I got more important things on my mind. Okay? Hopefully this will be the only time which I will have to address this, because there are more important things that we'll be concerned about. Well, I will say this much: regardless of who you wish to support, in my opinion, this is going to be a very close election, and history is going to be made either way. Should Donald Trump get elected, he will be the second person to be elected to two non-consecutive four-year terms. The first person that did that was Grover Cleveland back in the late 19th century. So should he become elected president, he will make history in that sense. He also will make history being the oldest person elected, for whatever it's worth. Should Kamala Harris become elected president, she will be not only the first lady president, she will be the first president of color. Okay? So history will be made. So either way, history will be made, regardless which one of the two people get elected. Whoever gets elected, that person is gonna have to try somehow heal the divisions that exist, and the divisions that has been existing for a long time. And in my humble opinion, those divisions have existed since Obama became president. Everyone likes to blame Trump for the divisions. Trump is basically a symptom of that problem. Yes, I will have to catch it on the playback. But thank you for letting me know. And you know what? As much as I disagree with Joe Biden, he earned my respect. Good evening, Multi. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I just want to let people know that Multi has her channel. So I'm going to ask that you show some love to her and subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know I always share her content. I also try to share Gigi's content as much as I can. So, I mean, it is what it is. And but I'll say this much. It took a great deal of concern and well-being for him to step down for the good of the nation. So he will forever my respect for nothing else for that. And with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. So the main topic for tonight is you are important. So tonight I'm going to be talking about a difficult, for some people, a difficult subject is why people decide to self-delete. Now this is not, this is something that's not just theory, it's something that I have personally had experience. I have gone through depression at times in my life, and there have been times when I have thought about deleting myself because at the time there was I had thoughts, well, that was a solution. And I can tell you this, that's not, okay, it seems like it's a solution, it is not. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Okay. First of all, whatever you're going through, there is a solution. There is an escape. There's ways that you can deal with it. Number one. Number two, if you choose that decision to self-delete yourself, what happens is your loved ones and your friends has to deal with the aftermath. And what happens is many of them start to question themselves, and many of them sometimes blame themselves regarding the why. And that's not a good thing. I consider myself extremely blessed and extremely fortunate because I actually got the assistance that I needed. And because of that, I'm here talking about it. It took me a long time before I got to the stage when I'm able to discuss it. But why am I sharing this tonight and my other channel on Thursday night? Because look, I think we all know people that unfortunately chose to self-delete, or we may know about people that are dealing with depression where they don't see an escape and they think that self-deletion is a solution. It is not a solution, okay? What it does, it creates more hurt, and it leaves your loved ones when that happens. Well, you know, people are going to say whatever they wish. I mean, but I can say this, and I see myself as a survivor of thoughts of self-deletion. Okay. It's not an easy. Yeah, it's not an easy I know it's not an easy topic to discuss. People don't want to talk about it, but it's the reality. It's there. Okay. So you can either ignore it or just become educated with it. Now, there's many reasons why people thought about choosing this course of action. A lot of it has to do with if you're suffering from illnesses, particularly illnesses where it does not appear to be a cure. Sometimes you can go through a death in the family, and you get into despair, where that becomes an option. Sometimes you're heartbroken because a romantic relationship has ended or a marriage has ended. Sometimes people choose to think about this when they're having financial difficulties and they don't see an escape. I'm here to tell you that yes, you can get over this, but it requires that you acknowledge that you have an issue there. And get the help you need, whether it be through a therapist, whether it be through family, whether it be loved ones, whether it be your clergy person, okay? Because we do have men and women who are pastors, rabbis, imams, those who in authority in their places of worship. So what I'm going to do is just give me a moment. Okay, because unfortunately, okay, I'm going to share something. All right. Just have to bear with me because my computer is okay. So, oh, and let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and express their point of view, join the panel, you're more than welcome. Again, let me just state, if I've never seen you before, I never heard from you before, anywhere, I will insist that you come up in the backstage because I don't want anyone to come up here to flash anything inappropriate, which has caused the good people YouTube to take down the stream, particularly when I'm talking about a topic that's very serious. So just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, there's an article. I'm going to, I'm going to use the word self-delete or deletion, not the actual word, because I don't think YouTube likes that word to be said. Okay. So this is the article, Why People Choose to Die by Self-Deletion. And I'm just going to go through some of the causes. One of the causes for self-deletion is mental illness. And, oh, excuse me, let me just get rid of this. Sorry. And what happens when you are in a state of depression, it may cause you to lose hope, and you see, and you may not be able to see an escape to whatever you're dealing with. And there are mental illnesses that can increase that risk, which is anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, eating disorder, and schizophrenia. Okay. Another reason why people may self-delete is what's called traumatic stress. People who had a traumatic experience such as childhood SA, rape, physical abuse, or war trauma are at a greater risk of self-deletion even many years after the trauma occurred. So it's especially high for men who've gone through a traumatic life event. Being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder or enduring multiple trauma events raises the risk even further. Okay. Another issue, risk is substance use and impulsivity. Drug and alcohol can also influence someone who's feeling suicidal. Self-deletion, making them more impulsive and thus more likely to act upon their urges while they were sober. Now, the fact of the matter is, when you are under the influence of a chemical substance or alcohol, it does impair your judgment, and it makes you more of a likely to self-delete. Another factor is fear of loss. And these are some of the examples of feeling of loss: academic failure, being arrested or in prison, bullying, financial problems, end of a close friendship or romantic relationship, job loss, loss of acceptance from friends or family due to sexual orientation, loss of social status. And I'm just going to read mental illness and also drug addictions still that I never understood why my favorite chef, he has shown Anthony Bourdain subtly when he was a recovering heroin addict and battled addiction. I don't know why, Irving. I really don't know why. Another issue is hopelessness. Whether it be short-term or long-term, lasting trait has been found in many studies to contribute to self-deletion ideation, and the higher the person's degree of hopelessness, the greater lethality of their self-deletion attempt. Chronic pain and illness. If a person has chronic pain or illness with no hope of cure or reprieve from suffering, self-deletion seems as a way to regain dignity or control of their life. In some states, assisted self-deletion has been legalized or decriminalized for this very reason. And these are the various health conditions that can help increase the likelihood. Asthma, back pain, brain surgery, cancer, congestive heart failure, diabetes, epilepsy, HIV/AIDS, heart disease, high blood pressure, migraine, and Parkinson's disease. Another factor why people choose to self-delete is a feeling like a burden to others. A person with chronic pain or terminal illness can feel like a burden to others. They worry that they create a hardship for other people they love, and by asking them to ride in a medical appointment, more help with household duties or assistance paying hospital bills. Feeling like a burden often show up in the form of thinking the world would be better without me. Another factor is, social isolation. A person can socially isolate for many reasons, including losing a friend or a spouse, undergoing separations of a physical or mental illness, social anxiety, retirement, or due to more or new location. It can also caused by internal factors such as low self-esteem. For some people, this is also a cry for help. Sometimes people attempt self-deletion not so much because they really want to die, but because they simply don't know how to get help. Mimicking the act of self-deletion without an attempt to self-delete yourself is referred to as para-self-deletion. In cases such as these, self-deletion attempts become a way to demonstrate to the world how much they are hurting. And then there is accidental self-deletion. Some situations appear to be self-deletes may actually be accidental death. Risking vital trends like choking gain, also known as pass out, challenge, flatlining, and spakes mounting when teens strangle themselves to achieve high sensation and other theoretic aspiration, like example or self-justification to self-deletion. And of course, as always, there is resources. So I'm gonna Good evening, Georgia. Thank you very much for stopping by. And I just want to let everybody know that my friend Georgia also has a YouTube channel where he produces some wholesome content. So I'm going to ask that you show some love to him and subscribe to his channel. The topic for tonight is You Are Important. So I'm talking about a topic where some people don't feel comfortable discussing, like how to prevent self-deletion from occurring. So basically what I did was I illustrated why some of the reasons people chose that route. Now what I'm going to do is just give me a moment. I'm going to share with you resources um, for anyone that's either for those who are thinking about that course of action, or if they know someone that is. And I see here we have a guest. So let me just bring in my guest. Good evening, Georgia.
Hey, good evening, Jose. So I
So how
can't
you?
really stay for long. So I'm going to oh, wait. I hear myself in your. Uh,
Okay, one moment. Let me just.
all right. So what I was saying is that I can't really stay for too long though. But I have just a little bit of some time to talk before I actually have to get back to doing what I need to do.
So actually, what I'm talking about is like why people unfortunately choose to self delete, and there are many factors. Some of them have to do with mental illness. Some of it, dealing with you know diseases where they perceive there is no cure, or and then sometimes they going through a loss. So I'm just explaining the why people chose that route, and I'm just getting ready to show some resources for those who find themselves in that situation. This is something that's not just theory. It is something that I personally have experienced, but I've been very blessed and fortunate to be delivered from the thoughts of self-deletion.
For sure. So Gigi just made a point in regards to how it can also be like demons. So I've been actually reading this book called Freedom from Soul Wounds and Demons. And so, like, when we actually harbor all this bitterness and all this unforgiveness in our hearts, it gives demons legal rights to torment us. And so, what do demons come here to do? They come here to steal, kill, and destroy us. So, once they have legal rights to attach themselves to our soul wounds, then things like self deletion can eventually start to creep into the equation. And that's why, like, like on some of our previous talk shows on here, I've always preached, like forgiveness and, really checking like everybody's hearts and everything, where they stand and whether they really have forgiven those who have hurt them in the past. Because again, if you haven't really like purified your heart, then it's a slippery slope to things much worse down the line. And so actually, like on the contrary, Moti, they actually do have legal rights to torment us until we have taken the necessary steps to rid them from our soul wounds. So like, like a lot of people who go through that, they have a lot of soul wounds, and so it does for sure make a gateway for demonic attacks, or in other words, like spiritual warfare. So it's a slippery slope to something like much worse down the line. But much like you said, help is always widely available. But yeah, a lot of us should probably learn how to reach out, because like my heart is always for people who are in those shoes. I've been in those shoes, so it's just great that hey, we can form a support community and take the necessary steps to become delivered from our soul wounds.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. But um, the word says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. Okay. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate the audience regarding why people uh, consider that rather action, and how it's not a real solution, because what it does for the friends and the loved ones of the person that's no longer there present, it creates a lot of hurt feelings. And what it does, it creates feelings of guilt, like why we didn't step in, why why we didn't bother to help. I mean, and sometimes we can be very judgmental regarding people who are experiencing these thoughts, and to say like, to snap out of it. The fact of the matter is, we don't know what people are going through, and it's easier to criticize. It's another thing to give, to give support, and to share information that there is an escape.
Absolutely. And like it's such like a really complex issue. So yeah, like like people dealing with demons that have attached themselves to their soul wounds, that is for sure a big thing. That's another thing. But like there are other um reasons too. And that could also be like much like you were explaining in regards to how there are already like pre-existing issues that are also going on with the person, to where it is now led up to something worse. So I follow this channel called Police Activity, and that channel has, I mean, unfortunately, it has a lot of videos featuring somebody who is self-deleting by cop. We all know self-deletion by cop. And when I was researching like the individuals who like like committed self, or like, well, I'm not going to say the S word on here, but they self-deleted by cop, it turned out that there was just a lot of stuff happening beforehand that led up to this. So it looks like after researching these people that there was a lot of mental issues going on. And it just got so much to the point to where they just couldn't take it anymore, and the worst happened. Or if or if, let's say, law enforcement is letting them know that they're going to have to get 5150'd, they are desperate not to go back to the psych ward, because I can agree not everything is great about the psych ward. So they're desperate not to go there. So which is their option? To make sure that they don't go there, even if that means forcing an officer to delete them. So there's also that issue too. Or it's a very toxic relationship that the person is in, and they want to get back at the partner by ending their life, which, as we already know, the results of that. So it's a convoluted issue.
Yes, it's a very difficult topic, and it's even more difficult for for some men, because first of all, because we are taught to be rough, we're taught to be tough, we're taught to be stoic and not to exhibit any emotion, okay? Because we are taught that's considered a sign of weakness. Just for men to acknowledge that they're having mental health issues. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes they're ridiculed, okay? So it's like they don't know if they are, where to go, or, in their attempt to try to seek someone, which can, give them some sort of direction, that they might be ridiculed, and that makes their situation even worse.
That too. Definitely. Oh yeah. I'm just reading the comments. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, Gigi. Not Gigi, but Moti. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that to me up above about how you joking through serious topics. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Then checking out the comments here. Yep, health problems, mental illness, drugs, bullying. I do agree with that. Self-deletion by cop is crazy. Yep, provoked police deletion is wild. They also said that the rapper Fulio wanted to be deleted. He dropped his location. Yeah. I mean, it's all very crazy stuff though, and that's why like when I really dug deep into the history of the individual who unfortunately, you know, got deleted by cop, there was just lots of mental and emotional issues happening prior that that led up to all this stuff. So, like there's that, or the person is in and out of the psych wards and they don't want to go back. So yeah, that's where they ultimately provoke the officers into doing such. Or just again, like the person just wanting to be brazen enough to do that just to be spiteful though, because I saw this one video where this guy was deleted by an officer on the police activity website, and this was because of how the girlfriend had been allegedly cheating on him to where it hurt him so much to where he wanted to get back at her. So there's that too. But to take things to that level, I do have to say there is undoubtedly a mental health issue that was going on prior to that man, wanting to get back at the cheating ex-girlfriend via self-deletion by cop. Again, my heart goes out to his family, condolence to his family. It really broke my heart to see him do that. However, we have to admit, though, that if you have taken it that far, there for sure are some pre-existing mental issues that were happening prior to this. Because everything is already a build-up to something, though, and there's just always like these factors that are already interacting with one another to produce results for later cases. And it just took an incident like a cheating girlfriend to trigger him into doing what he did.
That's why it's very important that we discuss this topic. Also, that we discuss some of the resources that are available. Like, okay, I'm gonna just say it because I'm just saying the actual name. There is the suicide hotline, where people can call toll free, and they can speak with someone as far as helping them deal with such a situation where people are having thoughts regarding self-deletion. And one thing you have to bear in mind that there's various levels of this thing, but when it gets to the point when you are actively trying to do this, in my opinion, it's demonic.
Oh, yeah, that does go back to Gigi's point in regards to how there can be a demonic aspect to that as well. And that does tie into my book called Freedom from Soul Wounds and Demons. Because again, demons are here to do the enemy's work, kill, steal, and destroy. So as soon as they have dominion to torment you because you have a lot of stuff going on in your heart that you still have yet to address, they're not going to go anywhere until you properly address it. So if they could actually exploit somebody who already seems as though that he or she has like a very shaky self-esteem, or a lot of hurt and unforgiveness in the heart, or bitterness, or even revenge minded, that can very much make its way into the self-deleting equation. And Gigi said, like, they always taught me though, if you self-delete, you go to hell, and might as well deal with the BO. That's a that's a debatable issue, but I am going to just say this really quickly though, that that's actually not always the case though, because even Prophet Elijah wanted to self-delete too. If he did, he probably still would have went to God anyway though. But that's a topic for another time. But go on, Jose.
Okay, well, actually, when it comes to that topic, you have Christians that will disagree regarding it. You have Christians that do agree that if you do self delete, you will spend eternity separated from God's presence. There are Christians who do not hold that belief based on the fact that at the time you did not have your full mental faculties when you chose that course of action, and actually to be, to, and there's disagreements regarding what about sin. One of them, is like you have to be consciously fully aware, and what you're doing is a complete opposite to what God wants you to do, and you knowing that, do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's see, I don't like I don't like to make that type of a judgment because let's say someone does decide to self delete. We don't know if that perhaps at the last minute, what before the person actually, you know, expires, that maybe they ask God for forgiveness before they actually um, left left this world. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it gets to be a difficult thing, and I don't like to make that type of a judgment. I don't know how you feel about that, Georgia.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does go back to like my prophet Elijah statement though, because he wanted to self delete though, because he was just fed up with life though. His flesh was just tired of everything though. He was getting burdened though. A lot of people were chasing him out. Some people even wanted to have him deleted too though. It's not easy at all to be in that position, and then you're still a human being to where, you know what, you just can't take it anymore though. A lot of people feel like Prophet Elijah, though, except there are just some people who took it to the level to actually do that. Now, more importantly, the Lord knows your heart, and He still is going to even judge you based on your fruits. So, yes, let's just say you've been known for being a person who exhibits great fruits of the spirits. You've always had, you've lived up according to your divine calling and everything. But hey, one unexpected situation happens to where you take it to that level, mainly because either because like Uncle Sam is taking your property, he's taking your money though, and the pain is just too much for you to handle to where you end up taking it to that level. God could still forgive you even if you have done that, because He's also is still going to look at your heart, irrespective of what you just did. So more than likely, the person who did self delete, while at the same time they were always walking in the fruit of the Spirit, as talked about in Galatians, the book of Galatians, then more than likely you will be rejoicing in paradise with the Lord. But in maybe in other cases, like the cases where I was talking about, in which like um, the people are self-deleting by cop. In their cases, I don't know, because the question to ask is, were they reborn? Did they really have like a strong relationship with Jesus? Were they really walking in the fruit? Uh, I don't know. I don't know. But I am going to say is that I don't think that everybody who self-deletes goes to hell.
Well, actually, there's a story in Old Testament regarding King Hezekiah. who
Uzziah.
Hezekiah, yes, where God through the prophet told him that he was going to die, that there was no cure. Okay, King Hezekiah could have just easily self-deleted. What he did was he went to the Lord in prayer and he wept, and he's talking about, look, I cannot accept this. I've tried to be a faithful person. I live by your rules and your laws. I try to be an obedient servant, and I serve you faithfully all these years. And actually, let God not only to cure Hezekiah, but to add 15 years to his life. So that should be um, a message of hope, particularly for those who are dealing who are dealing with diseases where it does not appear to be a cure.
Yeah, because in those self deletion by cop videos, I've learned that the suspects were diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar and or just other psychiatric illnesses, so that still don't quite have a cure just yet though, because I do know that schizophrenia, there is no cure for that just at the moment though, only just modest treatments just to minimize your symptoms.
Yeah.
So then there's
So,
also that too.
but I mean, there's a lot about why people choose this route we don't know about. I mean, there are some of the common reasons like illness, um, depression, other forms of mental health illnesses, also being heartbroken regarding you know as
Hold
far
on
yeah.
one second though. So like what did Gigi said? She said like the Bible says that yeah, being a good person isn't enough. So yeah, actually, the Bible says that we are all bad, and even Apostle Paul in the book of Romans said that none is righteous, not even one. But it's Jesus the one who justifies us as being righteous when he can see that we are really walking in like the fruit of the spirit, because of the fact that like we're of flesh, which is like perpetually sinful, that already makes you pretty bad. So the moment you keep harboring like the human vessel, then yeah, you're not really good, you're bad according to the Bible though. But just walking in the fruit of the spirit, which is always clean and pure, that's very much something that's going to be something that he's going to look at the most out of anything else.
Yeah. One thing we have to bear in mind that our concept of righteousness and holiness is flawed and imperfect, and God's concept of righteousness and holiness is totally different altogether. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, sin is when God explains to you what to do and you do the complete opposite. That's the textbook definition of sin in my book.
Yeah, because that's disobedience, which is actually a very serious thing. That's why I got out of a lot of the stuff that I was in though, because the Lord was talking to me and he was saying that you don't really exactly belong to me though if you're not really choosing to embrace the way that I made you though. So what is the gospel about? Well, being obedient as best as you can. So here I am. God's going to recognize that and even honor it too.
Actually, when you think about it, I mean, I mean, the most so-called righteous people sin constantly. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, getting back to the topic of regarding self deletion.
Hmm.
Um, other things. If you have a very low self esteem, um, you can expose yourself to have those type of thoughts. And also, when it comes to music, I mean, you have to um, take into consideration the type of music that you listen to, because not all music is fit to be consumed. Not all type of music is fit to be listened to, because there are some lyrics which is totally horrific. Okay, and
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean,
So
I
you got
used
to
to. Oh, sorry,
oh,
go on.
and you have to be mindful. Okay, in fact, Philippians 4:8 says those that you know things that are pure, things that are noble, things that are worthy of praise, contemplate on those things. Okay, if you're listening to music where self-delusion is being glorified, you're not listening to wholesome stuff. Okay, you are allowing that type of music to enter into your mind, and then you start thinking about it, and then before you know it, the thoughts can't become actions.
Yeah, because it all ties into the fact that you become what you consume, though. And even, yeah, what you watch and what you listen to also matters too, though, because much like you even said, like if there happens to be music, which by the way, there's a lot of it out there that is glorifying like self deletion in the moment because of how, oh, life is just so unfair. Things are never going to go according to how they should go, and how nothing and everything and nothing's going to be enough, then yeah, music that promotes like nihilism too probably is not something that I'm wanting to consume myself in, because people who are just gorging themselves on nihilistic movies and music, it's a red flag to me, because it's telling me that you don't really have a purpose in life. I don't want to consume that stuff.
And unless I'm mistaken, I think here in YouTube, um, if you are talking about in a glorifying way regarding self-delusion, I think that's also going against the community guidelines. I don't know. I could be in error.
Maybe.
But it's one thing when you talk about something for the purposes of trying to educate yourself. So therefore, if you know someone that are experiencing that type of thought, to try to encourage that person to get help that they need. It's another thing when you begin to glorify it and then treat it as a flex. That's where it gets to be a big issue.
Yeah, that's true.
Question: have you personally known anyone that actually have thoughts of self-deletion?
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not going to disclose anybody's names, but yes.
Okay. And I'm sure that you'll try, that to those that you have actually had those thoughts, that you have tried to encourage them to seek, you know, assistance.
I did. And then I would also do some talking too. And it worked. But then ultimately, I would just hope that the person continues down a good, godly path of self care. I also really wanted to even say this too on another note. Those who glorify it, though, or encourage somebody else to self delete, that's usually as a person who not only just has like a pretty serious demon that they're getting, that they're dealing with, or that they are probably liking, but it also is showing that they have a huge moral compass problem too. And those who are producing music like that have a serious moral compass problem going on with themselves.
So
Because I
what I'm
do
gonna
see that a lot. But go on.
so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share some of the resources. Um, of course, there is the I'm gonna say it only because there is the suicide hotline. You can call or text at 988, or you can chat at 988 lifeline.org. That is one resource that you can use if you find yourself in that situation when you're having those thoughts, or you know someone um, that's currently experiencing that type of thinking. Also, there is the crisis text line, and you can text talk to 741 hyphen 741 to text a trained crisis counselor. And good evening, Rizal. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, if if you find yourself in that situation when you do need assistance because you're currently struggling with those type of thoughts, there's also the Veterans Crisis Line. You can send a text to 838 255. There's also, um, let's see, the SAMHSA Treatment Referral Hotline for Substance Abuse. And the telephone number is 1 800 662 HELP, which is 1 800 662 4357. Okay. For the teenagers that are currently thinking about self deletion, there is the National Teen Dating Abuse Hotline, and the toll free number is 1 866 331 9474. There's again, it's 1 866 331 9474. There's also the Trevor Project. That's TREVOR. And the toll free number is 1 866 488 7386. That's 1 866 488 7386. And the topic for those who are just tuning in um, is you are important. It's dealing with people who have had thoughts with self-deletion, why people choose that route. And what I just did was I gave some resources to those that are currently thinking about that course of action, where they can get help. And earlier in the stream, I gave some reasoning why people choose um, to self delete.
I think the audience greatly appreciates the resources that you offered them. We really never know who needs the help.
Well, this is not, see, this is not something that's theory. This is something that I personally have experienced myself. So in my in my humble opinion, I am as a survivor. So that's the reason why I'm also sharing my own personal story about it. I'm also going to be discussing this Thursday night on my backup channel because it does affect Latinos. In fact, Latinos in some ways have an even more difficult time when it comes to dealing with self-deletion because a lot of it is that they don't know um, that there are resources available, and it could be harder for someone from the Latino community to acknowledge that they have this problem.
Nice. I mean, I may have to tune into that. But other than that, I need to get back to doing what I was doing. But it's been great talking to you, Jose.
Well, thank you very much for stopping by.
Anytime. You have a blessed evening.
You too. Take care. So let's see, there's some more comments. Yeah, you see, that's the problem. Is that there's a lot of ignorance, and um, it's not easy for anyone, particularly men, um, to acknowledge that they have this issue. Now, what's helpful is that um, through a Zoom link, you are able to speak with a therapist regarding mental health issues, which is something that is beneficial because at least this way you are within your home confines in your home. You don't have to worry about people, ridiculing you, things like that, and you're able to share what is on your mind. And again, as I stated before, this is not something that's theory. This is something that I have personally had experienced. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my link. Okay, so just sometimes it takes a while for the image to appear. Okay. So as I stated before, these are the resources that one can utilize in case either they know someone that's going to think about self-deletion, or if they're personally having those type of thoughts. So as you can see here, there's the 988lifeline.org. There's also the crisis text line. There's the Veterans Crisis Line. There's Vet for Warriors. There's also SAMHSA Treatment Referral Hotline for substance abuse. There's the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Okay. There's also the Travel Project. Okay. So there's some of the other resources that are there, and we're going to park it here. Okay, that's very sad, Gigi. You're quite welcome. Like I said before, here we don't just talk about issues. We do try to come up with solutions, and I'm gonna be sharing the same resources Thursday night when on my other channel, where I'm gonna be discussing how thoughts of self-deletion affects Latinos. Okay, but in all fairness, this is something that is not just a Latino problem. It's not something that's, that's a male problem. It's a problem that affects all of us. Okay, because either we know someone that actually thought about self-deletion, or we have personally thought about it. Okay, again, let me just state that self-deletion is not the solution. Okay, regardless of what you're going through, there is an escape. So, if you forget everything else that was discussed tonight, there is, first of all, there is an escape. Number one. Number two, you are important. Okay? If no one else ever tell you that, I'm telling you that. And let me just say a few words in Spanish. Solamente le quiero decir que hay personas que han contemplado quitando su vida debido de situaciones de salud, quizás situaciones de la pérdida de un ser querido o un ser amado, y hay veces que uno está sufriendo y que no se ve una salida. Solamente quiere decir que sí hay una salida, y que la cosa es cuando tú tratas de quitar la vida si eso suceda, entonces sus seres queridos se quejan se han lastimado por su decisión a quitando la vida. Allí yo hablé sobre los recursos que son disponibles en caso que se encuentren en esa situación. So, just remember there is an escape. Just remember that there are resources that are there. I would encourage you, particularly those of you who are thinking about self-deleting, please think about it. Please think twice, 3 times, 4 times before you actually do it. And get the help that you need. Okay, so in that case, if no one else hits the link, I will stop to wrap this up. Like I said, I'm gonna be discussing the same topic on my other channel. The difference is gonna be applicable as far as the Latino community. But I will be sharing the same resources. Okay. So if for some reason you miss it, I'll share it. I will share it as well. Okay. And of course, please, if you know anyone that's currently thinking about deleting themselves, please show them the stream. Okay? If you do nothing else, show them this stream. You don't know the world of good that you would do by letting people know that they're not alone, that these are the reasons why people think about this, but more importantly, that there are resources that are available in case you are having those type of thoughts. Okay. And again, this is not something that's theory for me. I personally went through it myself. So, in that case, tomorrow I'm gonna be doing a different stream. Okay, it's gonna be a little bit controversial. And the topic for tomorrow night's stream is Trump losing it? Now, what inspired me to do this? Because there's been a lot of talk regarding whether or not Donald Trump is going through, is experiencing mental issues. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to play the audio and then you can decide. I'll say this much. I don't like to state that he has mental illness because I don't know. First of all, I'm not a trained therapist, but I will say this much. I have never heard anyone. Actually, it's meant to be a happier stream, multi. Okay. Okay. Well, in all fairness, Gigi, there have been people that suspected they had issues going back to 2015. Now, one thing I will say this, and I think people, if you're going to be honest, the Donald Trump of 2015 is not the same Donald Trump of today. Okay? I don't look. Well, you know what? Look, we can debate whether or not Joe Biden made the decision. There was his decision was correct to step down. We can debate it back and forth. I think, generally speaking, I think it was the correct decision for him. Because if you, in your heart of hearts, don't think that you can win, the best thing to do is not even try. Well, look, I'm not going to take away the fact that someone did try to delete Donald Trump. No one can ever take that away. But you know what's the sad thing? For a good week or two, it did create a lot of goodwill for him. Okay, and actually, if he was a little bit politically more savvy, he could have just, he could have just used that to his advantage instead of wasting his time talking about that Kamala is done, Kamala has a lot, Kamala's this, she's whatever. I mean, you know what? Anyone who think they were staged, they're not all there. They're not all there because he was struck. Okay, he was struck by something, whether it be by a bullet or debris or something. He was struck, which caused bleeding. So, in my opinion, it was not staged. It was not faked. Okay. And sometimes people never recover from something like that. Okay. Like I said, look, in all fairness, there's a lot of things that we can disagree with regarding Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Let's keep it real. A lot of things we can disagree with. But these are the choices that we have. Okay, you know what? Okay, this is what I think is going to happen. In my opinion, Donald Trump is not going to see a day in jail. He's not. What's going to happen is he's probably going to have to, he'll probably be under house arrest in what's his place, Mar-a-Lago. So he's probably going to have to like wear an ankle bracelet, and then he's going to have to be monitored. Well, you know what, Irby, those are the choices that we have. Those are the choices that we have. So, I agree. Trump is not going. No, there's no way Trump is going to go to jail because the only way I can possibly, the only way I can see it, if whoever is president decides to remove Secret Service protection, and then he goes to prison. Well, I mean, I'm sure that's how he feels. Okay. How other people might feel, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. Okay? But he's not going to see a day of prison. If anything, he's going to be under house arrest. But I think one day, someone, whoever is president, is going to have to reevaluate the service, providing Secret Service to ex-presidents. Okay, Gigi, we all know he's not going to spend a day in jail. It will be a nightmare with the Secret Service. So that's not even gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. If anything, he will be under house arrest, which means he's gonna have to finish his campaigning in Mar-a-Lago. Okay. You know what? Even if he wasn't look, Irby, Let's keep it hungry. Even if he wasn't a billionaire, the fact of the matter is he's entitled to Secret Service protection for the rest of his life. So that alone, he's not going to go to jail. Okay, but Gigi, in all seriousness, he's not going to spend one day in prison. He's going to be under house arrest, if that, or he might have to pay a fine. Okay. Okay, but there's one. Okay, okay, true, but there is a big difference. None of them have Secret Service protection. Okay, Donald Trump is. Um, yeah, but then remember, wherever Trump goes, Secret Service goes with him, and the fact of the matter is, there's no way if he ends up in prison, there's no way they're gonna let armed personnel accompany Donald Trump into prison. No way. Well, I mean, I'll say this much. When it comes to okay, Donald Trump is one of those people. Either you love the guy or you hate the guy. There's no in between. That's how I see it. That I don't know. But I will say this much. Yeah, but remember, he was struck in the face. So basically, what a bulletproof vest would do is um, provide some protection for his chest, not his face. So what you're gonna do? Put a face guard or something? But in any case, we shall see what happens, because I believe, yes, a court date September the 6th, and I think September the 8th. That's when they're actually gonna pass sentence regarding the conviction. Yeah, I mean, we're living in a dangerous time. We are, in fact. So it's like, you know what it is? Do you know what it is when you've been president for 8 years and you can't even drive your own car? You can't go to a restaurant on your own. Um, I mean, you can't even look out the window. I mean, and the fact everywhere you go, Secret Service follow you. Okay. I don't know if you can go through life with all that stuff. That could be nerve wracking. Really, that could be nerve wracking indeed. But in any case, I think this has been a very good stream. Talking about uh, I think he might have to pay a fine, if that, or house arrest. I don't know, but we shall see. Well, look. In all fairness, The prosecution, um, like it or not, like it or not, I mean, they proved that they had a case and that Trump was found guilty. Well, there are a lot of people that think that way. We shall see them. We shall see. But the link is there if anyone wants to hop on briefly. Otherwise, I'll call it a night. Okay. But the bottom line is this: is that I just want to discuss why people choose to self-delete, and I just want to explain some of the rationale behind it, and I also share some resources to be given to those who are either thinking about that or know someone that does. You know what? I have already spoken my piece regarding the migrant situation. That's one area when I think, I'm sorry, Joe Biden screwed up on that one. That's one area. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, let me tell you something. They closed the Target in my own neighborhood. A lot of it had to do because people were stealing. So it's no stretch of an imagination if people try to steal from Starbucks. I mean, it is what it is. But in any case, yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame because they invested their money for the small businesses only to lose it. Well, yeah. Well, I will say this much. I really appreciate the fact that there are 9 people watching this stream. Okay. I already said what needs to be said. Let's see what else. Oops. Yeah. Look, like I said before, I had spoken about this multiple times. I even devoted streams regarding this. Okay. And it is what it is. Okay. Risa, there's a person on TikTok that went viral talking about that she's 34 years old. She has 7 kids by 7 different baby daddies. Is getting $3,000 a month in food stamps, public assistance, and child support. And had her first child at age 14. Why should I be surprised? Why should I be surprised? But in any case, I'm going to wrap this up. And of course, I just want to say thank you very much for all the people in the chat for their input. Thank Jojo for being on the panel. And to the playback crew, you can leave whatever comments you like. Just try to be respectable, because if you say anything inappropriate, those comments will be deleted. So I'm gonna call it a night. And of course, thank you very much, Gigi. And of course, I'm gonna close this the same way. Excuse me. I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do that, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. Thank you, Irby. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you very much, everybody. So I'm just gonna say, take care. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Until the next time. Peace.